Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers edge Alex Highsmith misses another practice. Montravius Adams returns ahead of Week 12. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals have held their first official practices of the week, which means our first very official looks at the documented injury updates ahead of Week 13. No big surprises on the first injury report of the week. Edge rusher Alex Highsmith still has yet to practice, with an ankle injury suffered in Week 10. The official DNP tag is a little surprising, as Penn Live beat reporter Nick Farabaugh shared a relatively positive update on Tuesday. The team has generally been cautious this season when it comes to return from injury, usually a plus when considering the team's pass rush could certainly use a boost. Without Highsmith in the lineup, there's no doubt that their ability to get to opposing quarterbacks has been diminished. Over the past 2 weeks, they've achieved pressure on 45.2% of snaps, the third highest among NFL teams over that 2-game span. However, their sack rate stands at just 5.5%, which ranks 20th. Highsmith has totaled 3 sacks, 11 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 10 QB hits over his 6 starts. Prior to the ankle injury, he'd miss weeks 4 to 6 with a groin injury, a challenging season for him to overcome, though it's worth it in the end, should he finish the year out healthy. The team did get some excellent news, however, as DT Montravius Adams' 21-day practice window from injured reserve. He's missed each of the past 4 games with a knee injury, a hit to their depth along the interior defensive line, with Isaiah Loudermilk and Dean Lowry getting more rotational snaps in the B-gap in his absence. Adams has totaled 1 sack and 8 tackles, 1 for a loss, in a limited role this season. Steelers fans can be thankful we don't root for these 8 franchises in disarray. The NFL is unpredictable in many ways. Sometimes talented teams fall flat on their faces and underperform like nobody thought possible. Other teams are dumpster fire organizations that seem to have no hope of ever competing for a Super Bowl. This year, we can once again be thankful that the Pittsburgh Steelers don't fall into either category. Regardless of how you feel about Mike Tomlin's streak of never having a losing season, the Steelers always have something to play for in the final week of the season, which is more than can be said for many sad organizations. In 2024, Pittsburgh is on the fast track to a playoff berth and looks determined to make a splash in the postseason. With the holidays upon us, it's a great time to reflect on some sad NFL franchises we can be glad aren't the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Dallas Cowboys are too talented to fall short every year. But in 2024, America's team has hit rock bottom. The Cowboys lost franchise quarterback Dak Prescott for the season and have been without Pro Bowl and All-Pro players like Micah Parsons, Darren Bland, and Dexter Lawrence at times this season. Dallas failed to capitalize on the Super Bowl window they had over the past 3 years. Now that window could slam shut. Prescott, the league's highest-paid player, will be coming off a season-ending injury in 2025 and turns 32 years old in the summer. Meanwhile, former All-Pro guard Zach Martin is inching toward retirement and more talent could be headed out the door. Just when it looks like the Cowboys are going to meet lofty expectations, they fall apart. This has been a recurring theme this century. You don't have to search long and hard to find major problems with the Panthers organization. Owner David Tepper has been a train wreck managing his team, and Carolina continues to make one bad decision after the next. It didn't help that the Panthers set themselves back years by essentially trading 3 first-round picks to bust on quarterback Bryce Young. Now they are back to square one and their roster doesn't look much better than an expansion team. Who would have thought the New York Jets could have been so bad with Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams? The Jets entered all-in mode when they made the trade for Rodgers, but his first season in New York was lost with an Achilles injury and he's done nothing to warrant his massive contract this season. The frustration of a disappointing 2024 season has led to some house cleaning. Head coach Robert Saleh and general manager Joe Douglas both got the axe this year, and more could follow early in the offseason. Without fail, the Jaguars find ways to disappoint. Since his second NFL season in 2022, Trevor Lawrence's development has hit a brick wall. Now this team looks as bad as the one that earned the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Jacksonville should have talented players on the roster with all the draft capital they've had over the years, but this franchise didn't even give the illusion of being competitive in 2024. Just like we thought, firing head coach Mike Vrabel after the 2023 season didn't make all of Tennessee's problems disappear. A few years back, this was a well-coached team capable of a playoff berth. These days, the Titans are nothing more than an extra bye week on the schedule. Quarterback Will Levis was thrown to the wolves and has become a laughingstock around the NFL. His supporting cast isn't much better, and the Titans hardly boast any young players worth getting excited about for the future. It's about time the Giants understood that Daniel Jones isn't a franchise quarterback, but fans wish they would have discovered that years ago before handing him $40 million per season. Nothing this organization does seems to work, and head coach Brian Daboll probably wishes he would have stayed in Buffalo. Yes, the Giants have a budding superstar in Malik Nabers and a perennial All-Pro in Dexter Lawrence, but a few talented players can't overcome a disastrous supporting staff. This team might as well throw in the towel. Report: Steelers OC Arthur Smith shows interest in UNC head coaching job. Will the Pittsburgh Steelers be on the lookout for a new offensive coordinator after one season? After Arthur Smith was recently identified as a potential head coaching candidate, reports have surfaced he would be interested in returning to his alma mater. On Wednesday, Football Scoop provided an in-depth update on the University of North Carolina's search for their next head coach. In the update, multiple sources confirmed that the Steelers' offensive coordinator was indeed interested in the prospect of returning to college coaching. Smith graduated from UNC in 2006 and began his coaching career there as a graduate assistant. The search for the next head coach at UNC began after current head coach Mack Brown, who was on his second stint with the Tar Heels, was informed he would not be brought back for the 2025 season. Since then, multiple names have been associated with the job. However, Smith has been the warmest of those mentioned. After spending his collegiate playing career in Chapel Hill, Smith got into coaching as a graduate assistant. From there he went on to 2 stops, before spending 10 seasons with the Tennessee Titans. After 2 successful seasons as offensive coordinator in Nashville, Smith was hired by the Atlanta Falcons to serve as their head coach. After 3 seasons of posting a 21-30 record, Smith was let go by Falcons owner Arthur Blank. It would take long before the Steelers picked him up. Since then, he has overseen an offense that has elevated their offensive production, set Najee Harris on pace for a career year, and put George Pickens on course to be one of the NFL's top weapons. The Steelers would love to keep Arthur Smith, however, they also likely wouldn't hold him back from accepting an advancement to a head coaching spot. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Arthur Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.